Welcome to Cutting the Crap with Chap. Thanks so much for checking out my channel, subscribing, sharing, liking. I really do appreciate it. Today is all about getting strong, specifically strong in 7 steps. Now, when I say strong in 7 steps, that doesn't mean it's every single step. There's obviously more than 7 ways to get strong, but for people that are just starting or even intermediates, these 7 are critical. Some of them are critical no matter where you are in your lifting journey. I have 45 years of experience training, and these are still things that I think about all the time. So please ask questions. Please comment. If there's something you need help with, please let me know. So let's get started. Number 1 on the list, got to be consistent. Out of all the things that when it comes to getting strong, being consistent is number 1. You're not going to get strong if you're going one day, taking 4 days off, going 1 week, taking 2 weeks off. It's all about setting up habits and patterns where you can be consistent from week to week, month to month, and year to year. Now, when you're getting started, when you think about being consistent, one of the things when I train or coach or even teach people, I'll ask them, tell me how many days a week you think you can go to the gym. And they'll say, oh, five or six. And then I'll ask them, like, really? And they're like, oh, well, no, like 3. You got to be realistic on what your consistent patterns are going to be. So I can tell you for me, I am training basically at least 4 times a week, every week, no matter what. Even if I go away on vacation and make sure there's a gym, at least 4 times a week. Now, sometimes it's more than that, depending on my schedule, depending on the muscle groups, and if I'm getting ready to compete or not, but at least 4 times a week consistently. So you want to develop those consistent patterns. Again, you're not going to get strong if you're training 1 time a week, taking 2 weeks off. Even if you trained 4 or 5 times a week and then you took a bunch of time off, you're not going to get strong that way. You really need to be consistent with your training. Number 2, you really want to have a plan. This is something that honestly just drives me crazy. I'll go to the gym and I'll be helping somebody and I'll see them doing like 7 sets of bench press and then doing 7 sets of flies and 7 sets of incline presses. And I'll say to them, hey, you have a plan? Or like, oh no, I'm just following what I saw. You got to have a plan that's going to work for you. So when I say a plan, what I mean is it's something that when you go to the gym, you know the exercises you're going to do, the approximate weight you're going to do, the reps and sets you're going for. So instead of being instinctive, it's called instinctive training, where you just go in and you see how you feel, which I think is incredibly stupid. You want to have a plan to follow. And again, there's lots of different plans. I'm not going to go over all the different kinds of plans there are now. I'll follow up a video with that. But generally speaking, you want to have a plan you're going to follow. Number 3, please do compound movements. Like, okay, I get it. You want big arms. You want good biceps and good triceps. Start with compound movements. Learn how to do a squat. Learn how to do a clean. Learn how to do a deadlift. Learn how to do a row. Actually, learn how to do a pull-up. All of those compound movements, they are the things that are going to get you freaking strong. They will get you strong. I'm not saying don't do other movements. I'm saying that the core part of your training should be compound movements that hit multiple muscles in multiple ways. So I'll give you a simple example, like something like a barbell row. A barbell row is an amazing pull movement. It hits your forearms, your biceps a little bit, tons of back, and even your core, because just being stable. It's a great strength movement. Think about how much weight you can handle in a barbell row compared to doing like a simple curl. Again, it's that compound movement that's going to really help you build a strong physique. And of course, then you can mix in your accessory movements. And that's part of the planning. So for me personally, every day that I train, there is at least 1 or 2 compound movements mixed in. And I'll give you a basic example. If I was doing legs, there's going to be a squat, there's going to be a lunge, there's going to be a leg press, or something that's a compound movement. If I was doing back, there's a deadlift, a row, a pull-up. If I was doing chest, there's a dumbbell press. Every single one of those major muscle groups is going to have a compound movement no matter what happens. Okay? So you always want to kind of hit your compounds first and then hit your accessories after that. Number 4, learn about RIR and use it. So there's two main ways to determine effort level. Okay. Number 1 is called RPE, which is rate of perceived exertion. Some people use that. It's on a scale of 1 to 10, meaning like 10 would be you went all out. Some people use it. It's generally done more in, let's say, endurance circles than it is in strength. RIR is what I suggest, what I use, and what a lot of other people use. So RIR means reps in reserve. It's incredibly simple, but so critical for your training. So RIR, when I say reps in reserve, this is what I mean. If you did a set, let's say you did a set of 8, and at the end of that set of 8, you could have done 2 more. That is a reps in reserve of 2. So that means you really could have done 10. Let's say, for example, you're benching, you're doing 135, and you do it for 5 times, and you could have done 8. That's an RIR of 3, reps in reserve of 3. So where do you want to be on most of your training? Now, some of this is going to be, are you doing compound movements? If you're squatting, deadlifting, rowing, let's say, leg pressing, you want an RIR to be somewhere most of the time between 1 and 3 reps in reserve. Now, if you're doing accessories like bicep curls, tricep push downs, lateral raises, those things you can go pretty much to failure or very close to it on most of your sets because it's just an accessory movement. So when I talk about RIR, I want to make sure everybody understands this. A lot of people do not really understand what hard is. Okay. So when I watch people train or I coach people, a lot of times I will see things and I'll watch their set and they'll finish and I'll say to them, hey, how many did you have left in the tank? And they'll say, oh, I could have done 1 more. And I'm watching them and they probably could have done like 3 more. So when you are doing RIR, you really need to know what hard is. And that's critical because otherwise your last reps in the set, the last 2, 3, 4 reps, they are the ones that are promoting the most hypertrophy or muscle growth and strength. So if you were doing a set of 6 and you could have done 10, you have a 4 RIR. That's a lot of reps in reserve. And then if I said to you, how many did you have left? And you only said 1. You've left a lot of reps left. So it's really critical to understand RIR. And the best way to do that is to have somebody with you, monitoring with you, and challenging you to go a little bit harder. Okay. So that's number 4. Number 5 is the pizza analogy. Okay. I use this all the time when I'm coaching and teaching people. All the time. It's pretty simple. Let's do a role play. So you order a pizza. The pizza you're ordering has 4 slices. Okay, and no, pizzas have 8, but this one has 4. Okay, so you order the pizza delivery person comes to your house, and you're excited for the pizza. And before you pay, you decide you want to look at the pizza. So you open up the box, and it's missing a slice of pizza. You would never pay full price for that pizza. You probably wouldn't even take the pizza because it's missing a slice. Well, here's what the pizza is. Here are the 4 slices. Number 1, how much rest are you getting? It is critical to get enough rest when you are training hard. Okay, you cannot function and recover enough if you're not resting. Slice number 2, your food, your diet. Okay, yes, you can train on most foods, but to train optimally, to feel your best, you want to eat foods that grow and that have a face. That means foods that come from the ground or the protein sources are coming from animals. And again, I'm not saying you can't have a cookie. I'm saying that eating healthy and getting enough rest are critical for getting strong and lean. Number 3, your training. You have to know how to train. You have to train hard. You have to train consistent, and you need to have a plan. It's obvious. If you do the other 3, and you don't train, you don't get stronger. So you got to be able to rest. Got to be able to eat well. And you got to be able to have a positive attitude. That's slice number 4. The reason I say your attitude is if you are somebody who's been training or even a newbie and you think that your strength is going to go up like this constantly, you are going to be mistaken. You're going to plateau at some point Nobody gets stronger every single week, every single year. At some point, you're going to hit a plateau. That is where your attitude is critical. Having a positive attitude is going to help you get over those times where you're not feeling great, where you don't feel like going to the gym. It's snowing out, it's cold, it's hot. You're on vacation, you don't want to train. Having a positive attitude is critical for those difficult times. Okay. Number 6, hard, but not to failure. Okay, so let me say what I mean by that. Most of the sets that you do should be hard to very hard, but not to failure on most of your sets. Again, I'll say it again. Most of your sets should be hard to very hard, but not to failure. Now, some people might say you got to go to failure, and I'll say, yes, you do. On certain movements and certain times. You can do bicep curls basically to failure, even though when you say failure, most people don't even know what failure means. Okay, failure legitimately is not when you can't do any more weight with any more reps with a certain weight. Failure is actually if you did a drop set and you kept lowering the weight and then you couldn't move the bar. That's failure. So I'm not talking about, I'm just saying that when you do a set of 10, you need to go close to failure on most of those sets and sometimes at failure. Okay, so it's just like going hard most of the time. And last thing, number 7, and of course, this is critical. This is one of the reasons why I'm making the video, is ask questions. If you don't know something, please don't pretend like you know it. Ask a question. It can be, you can ask me a question, you can ask somebody else, but ask a question because that's how you basically learn, especially for new and intermediate trainers that are still figuring things out. Ask a question because somebody can really give you some sound advice. Now, when you ask a question or ask questions, I would ask more than one person because, if you get an answer from somebody, you don't know if it's the right answer. Asking a few people is really critical. So again, everybody, this is strong in 7 steps. Okay. Be consistent. Number 1, have a plan. Number 2, compound movements. Number 3, learning to use RIR or reps in reserve. Number 4, the pizza analogy, 4 slices, attitude, food, rest, and your training. Number 6, training hard most of the time, but not always going to failure. And number 7 is asking questions. So those are my 7 steps. I think they are critical for anybody. Even if you're an advanced trainer, they're still helpful. So if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm here to help. Please consider subscribing, liking, sharing. That's how we build a channel, and that's how I can keep putting content out. So thank you again for all you do. Have a great day. I always finish a podcast with a certain quote. Today is pretty simple. Go hard or don't go. Thanks again for all you do. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
Wow, yeah. That was good. That was good.